if uh, something comes as a brushed when we start with in between the randomized algorithm. Okay. So we'll continue with there are enough stuff materials are available on Microsoft Team, and hopefully maybe initially one or two classes will be difficult and you'll be able to cope up. Uh, Due to the basic requirement for this course is that we'll be continuing with the assumption that you people have a good coverage on the conventional paradigm starting from greedy backtracking, branch and bound, dynamic programming, and we do discuss something related to few algorithms like Quicksort and others. That in particular covers the worst case, best case, and the average case analysis. So the objective of this course is uh, twofold. One is basically to train someone how to design a new algorithm. In addition to that, also we uh, practice or we wrote the program to test analysis of algorithm, and those people are joined to the PhD program. So a little bit of hardship is there in the assignment, and I'll be inviting them into a separate group to fix their assignment. Seats are ready. Maybe I have to form uh, one team where they will be joining, because initially I want to talk with them what is the agenda and how the 20-mark assignment which is to be calculated for PhD students. Maybe this couple of days, maybe for last 1 week, it is a hectic for me because of some uh, central government assignment. I'll be little bit of free on 19th. Definitely, I'm not going to conduct a meeting before 19th. Maybe after 19th, I can fix any time. Maybe sometimes after, maybe after 5:30 or so, so that I can hand over the topics. In fact, we were waiting for the executive PhD students to join so that we can finalize the only list of the topic, and it is something like this. They have to present, I mean, they have to submit a report, and they will be presenting in a common platform where all the students of the class will listen to their seminar. Okay, so we'll be continuing with randomized algorithm. The idea is that there are two things. When I try to, what is the another application of randomized algorithm? When we try to design a new algorithm, we need a reference algorithm to which it can be compared. So this is one of the best way where we take the help of randomized algorithm. You are developing a new algorithm and you want to compare. There is always a discussion how you are going to prepare with someone else, or why you have compared your algorithm with Mr. X algorithm. So the best way is that we can write randomized algorithm as well as we can write the algorithm. Uh, I mean uh, a randomized algorithm. We can propose a new algorithm that is going to be compared. Suppose your problem is to find out the shortest path and you are proposing a new algorithm and you want to compare efficiency, or you want to do the simulation to prove that your algorithm is better. So then you need another algorithm, and suppose in a problem you do not have any algorithm proposed by any of the researcher, then this randomized algorithm is coming to the rescue. Because if you do number of times the simulation, the randomized algorithm is going to represent the average case. This I think I told number of times. Again I am repeating, if your objective function is a maximization function and you design a randomized algorithm, your objective function is tried to maximize this thing. Your randomized algorithm represent the average case. So your proposed algorithm or the new algorithm what you have designed is runs over or covers the randomized algorithm. And if your problem is a minimization problem, then if your randomized algorithm performance is plotted, then your algorithm runs below the randomized algorithm. So that is the first case. You can say that my algorithm is above the average or below the average depending on the problem. And if we'll find the difference, the distance between a plot that represents the average case, and let that be a minimization problem, maybe you have developed two algorithm for the minimization, or a two new algorithms. If we'll compare, then you can compare which one is the better, because the gap between the randomized algorithm and your algorithm should be more. Whichever algorithm shows the more gap, I mean it will be more minimized in terms of y-axis value, is to be considered. So that is the another motivation for studying the randomized algorithm. Again, I repeat, if you are proposing or designing a new algorithm and you do not have any base algorithm to prepare, we can take the help of the randomized algorithm. And if we'll do number of times solution, I mean if you go for averaging or run a simulation for number of times, then we can have a best study on the average case. So I can conclude my proposed algorithm is better or above the average or below the average depending on maximization or minimization problem. The last class we discussed a randomized COT, and again I am explaining what is the size of the solution space. Actually, for a COT, I may have to select one edge, two edge, three edge, four edge, like this. It may be a directed graph, it may be a indirected graph, but if I want to go for a cut, the definition of cut is sometimes like this. The cut divides the graph into two components. This is the graph theory terminology. The graph divided into two components, and there will be no common vertex or common edge between those two graphs. Suppose G is divided into two components, G1 and G2, then intersection of G1 and G2 is phi. And if we'll go for G1 union G2, it is definitely not equal to G, because you are going to delete certain edges that actually divided them into two components. So what is a COT actually? COT is nothing but the set of edges. It may be one edge, it may be a two edge, it may be three edge, it may be four edge, depending on your graph. So COT is nothing but the a set of edges. So when I have m number of edges, then I can select how many possible subsets are there. When there are m number of elements, what is the maximum number of subsets, or what is the possibility available to me? That is nothing but the element of the power set. So with m number of edges, I can have 2 to the power m number of subsets or power set. So any one of them can be a cut set. And if I am looking for a minimum cut set, first it has to be cut set. So out of all the edges are available, or out of all the 2 to the power m number of edges, few are qualified to be cut set, and out of which we want to take the cut set which edge width will add it, and that will be minimum. So that is the problem, uh, is a minimization problem. But interesting things, when we talk about this minimization problem, where is the problem statement? Last class we discussed few slides, and where is the problem statement? This is not given here or not mentioned in this process intentionally, because one of the designer's approach is to formulate or to design a mathematical model. So COT is defined, COT set is defined, and in a network we are defining how many COT sets are possible. It depends on a particular graph, out of which all the COT sets are attached a weight depending on the edge weight associated with the particular edges, that is going to be called as a COT set. So you can say COT set is nothing but a set of edges. Then which one is minimum? So out of which one is minimum? So your simple formula is summation of the edge width. Can you write down a mathematical formulation? Please remember, can you write down a mathematical formulation? Can you write down a mathematical formulation? Any idea, anything comes to your mind? I want to write something like that, minimize something or maximize something. Can you write? Yes. Anyone can attempt to at least write the mathematical formulation for min COT. I also asked you to search for the mathematical formulation for minimum spanning tree. Any of you have got? Yes. Yes, anyone can respond where you have searched to find out a statement. Rohit. Hello.
Yes, sir.
So where you will find any idea? I want to write the objective function for a spanning tree. How to write? Let us assume that I have a graph. Okay. You tell
Okay,
me
sir.
your assumption, how you are going to represent a graph. Set up vertex and edges,
Set of what?
right?
Yes, sir.
So
G
when I
V
am
comma.
talking, okay, fine, ready?
Yeah.
Agreed. Set that V and E is the set of edges, right? And
Okay,
how
sir.
you are going to define a edge? How you are
Edge
going to
will
define a edge?
edge will connect for exactly two vertices.
Two vertices.
V
So suppose
V J
you are connecting from vertex I to
to vertex J.
vertex J, then you are going to call that edge as EI, EJ, right?
Yeah. Yeah. J.
Okay. Now then how to formulate a spanning tree problem? That's something I supposed to write minimize, just like your 0 1 knapsack problem. I want to write minimize this, subjected to constant this. What is to be minimized? That is some, there is a summation.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So
Cost.
what is to be minimized? The weight associated with age.
Yeah. The weight, the cost, which will be
That
associated in
means
the edge.
can I write it Cij or Wij as the weight associated with the age?
Yes. Sir.
Yes. So all the Wij is to be added. For whom it will be added?
For the
If I'll
minimum
write
spanning.
for minimum spanning tree, but we do not know which ages are
Yeah.
qualifying to be minimum spanning tree, right?
Mm. Yes. Sir.
That means whenever you catch hold of a edge, you have a question. Is it a spanning
It.
tree or it is not a spanning tree? When I am looking into a edge, I can say whether it is a part of the spanning tree or it is not a part of the spanning tree. If it is a part of the spanning tree, I'll say yes.
Yes. Sir.
So just like in 0 1 knapsack problem, if you will be allowed to introduce a variable, there we are using xi, here we are using, let us say, xij. Right?
Okay.
So we are defining xij equal to 1. If that but age connecting, that means eij is a age belongs to the spanning tree. Right?
Okay.
Okay. Let, let me first define a spanning tree. I have a graph vertex comma edges v comma e. How I am defining a spanning tree in terms of the graph notation?
Yeah. It should be means uh, V edges, no V vertexes and
V
V minus
vertexes,
one.
then no, e dash edges. There will be another set. Okay.
Okay.
And
Okay.
this
Yes.
e
Yes.
dash is agreed. Everybody listen. When I am defining a spanning tree, I start with a graph with set of vertex V and edge set E. And I am going to produce a spanning tree where V is identical. All vertex has to be covered. So let me call that spanning tree as T, which is nothing but V comma E dash. Agreed?
Okay. Yes.
V
Yes.
comma E dash, because E dash contains those edges that are qualified to be spanning tree. Agreed? So what about E dash and E? Are they equal? Answer is no. E
No.
dash
No.
is a subset of E.
E.
And maybe for a particular tree when you do not have any extra edges. Okay. So this E dash
Then
and
they are equal.
E may be equal. So you use proper notation how to write down that what is a relationship between E and E dash. Clear?
Okay.
Okay. So now I have defined my spanning tree is V. So cardinality of V is the n number of vertex. Cardinality of E dash is, what is the cardinality of E dash?
This is n V minus
N
one.
minus n minus 1. Very good.
N minus
N
one.
minus 1. N minus 1. Okay. So this is the mathematical formulation. Now we are going to write down the objective function. Okay. Baljit, can you help me?
Yes, sir.
How to write?
So the mathematical formulation for the minimum spanning
Yes.
tree.
Yes.
It's
We are introducing a variable xij. Xij, if that particular age
okay.
eij to be a part of the spanning tree, then it will be 1, otherwise 0.
Okay.
Sure. Just this is very much similar to look into the 0-1 knapsack problem. If I am selecting that item,
Sir,
yes,
so we can say that cost of each as Cij,
fine.
then that Xij that we have, sorry, E dash Ij, we consider that the edge is in or not. If it is 0, then it is not in our spanning tree, and
Agreed,
1 it,
agreed, agreed. So you tell me
then
the formulation, the summation
sir,
over.
summation over that is I comma j belongs to E, and Cij multiplied by Xij, मतलब E dash Ij.
Okay, no, no. Let us write the weight associated with so Wij or Cij. Directly it will be multiplied with Xij. But in
Xij.
condition I am writing Xij will be equal to 1
1.
if Eij belongs to E dash. Clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Otherwise Xij equal to 0
0
if Eij does not
does
belongs
not
to
belongs to S.
E dash. E dash. I have defined the E
Yes.
dash. Right?
Okay, sir. Yes,
Right.
sir.
Then what about I and j over summation?
So they should belongs to the complete edges, मतलब whole set of
I
edges.
mean, you see, in case of 0-1 knapsack, we vary the I from 1 to n. Right?
Yes, sir. Yes,
So
sir.
what I will write here? Here there are two variables. Now let us, okay, again I am going back. Assume that the graph I have represented using a weighted graph. Fine. The graph I have represented as a weighted graph as a adjacency matrix. Right?
Yes, sir.
Let that graph which I am representing, let it be Wij. If a vertex I is connected to vertex I, it has a weight, which a vertex
Yes.
Y I cannot be count to vertex I, so all diagonal will be 0, right? And
Yes.
other values you know how to write it. It's a W11 is 0, but W12, 13, 14, it will be there if there is a edge. Got it? The
Yes.
graph I am representing as a weighted matrix. You can call it as Cij or you can call it as a Wij. Choice is yours. Okay. Now you tell me in the summation, should I write two summation or write one summation? In 0-1 knapsack problem, one I is varies from 1 to n.
Yes, sir.
Here, two
Sir,
variables are there.
yes, I
Yes.
and J.
Hmm. So you are writing two summation. Okay.
Yes, sir.
I is also varies from 1 to n and j also varies from 1 to n. So it's very simple. You represent the graph using adjacency matrix. So you have two choices. Which will be the inner, which one will be outer? How we read the matrix? By row measured or column measured order. So depending on that, you can write the I is outer or J is outer.
In, yes, sir.
Both are possible. Is there
Yes,
any
sir.
condition I have mixed? Here you see one condition.
Sir,
When I, yes,
those edges means the spine, the
The
tree
I
form
should not
edges
be
should
equal
be
to
n
J.
minus 1. Some,
okay. Baljit, what you are telling?
The I should not be equal
So
to
I should
J.
not be equal to J because
I, I should not
I
be
should
equal
not be
to J.
equal
Because
to
Yes,
that
J.
should be
yes.
a self
That
group.
condition. That condition is that we are going to look into the diagonal element, right? That you want to say? Or it is going to take care of that. Suppose I equal to J, then what will be the Xij? Is that the
So it will
condition
be
to be?
zero. It will be
It
zero,
will be
I
0.
guess.
Is
So
that condition? No, is
it's
that
not
condition
mandatory
is
to return that.
is it condition to be written or it is itself managed with Xij equal to 1 and Xij equal to 0?
Yes, sir. It's
Okay.
not mandatory
Now,
to return.
okay. What I feel at least you'll able to say we can formulate. Unless and until we formulate and we wrote down the program, it's not possible. Without a mathematical formulation, program is not possible. Okay. Now, similarly, when you come to this one mincut, if you'll search over the literature and the papers, you may find the objective function, because most of the text they explain, they very nicely explain the problem, but they never represent that with a mathematical model. Now, similarly here, the same thing, we have few edges which are to be qualified to be the spanning tree, sorry, to be the min cot. So rest of the edges will not selected, only 3 edges will be selected if you look into this graph. Right. So now come to the brute force algorithm. What is a brute force algorithm for this min cut problem? What will be the brute force algorithm?
Check for all
Check for
total
all
power.
edges.
Yes, sir.
Check for all subsets. You define for this particular problem, you define the AE. What will be the E? If you look into the edges, maybe here actually weights are there, the representation is not proper. Maybe on the top of the all the edges you can number it, E1, E2, E3, E4, E5. So or you can directly use that number. Let us I call one edge as 16, another is 12, another is 20. So I'll write all the edges. How many edges are there? How many edges are there?
10.
10 edges.
10.
10 edges. So number of possible subsets with 10 edges is 2 to the
1,
power
0, 2,
10.
4.
2 to the power 10. Right. 2 to the power 10 out. That means I have to examine each and every set. Maybe single edge can be a min cut, 2 edge can be a min cut. So I'll be examining from the 2 to the power 10 number of 2 to the power 10 number of sets that who are qualified to be caught
Min cut.
first,
Cut,
caught
cut.
first, caught first.
Okay.
Got it. Who are qualified to be caught first. What happens in this type of problem? This is also large enough, but in general, you can say in the brute force method, we need to examine all the 2 to the power n number of subsets, or you can say the member of the power set of the edge set E, whether they are qualified to be a caught or not. So once I'll able to find out the all the caught, then I will find out which one is representing the minimum caught or the maximum caught. Then the question comes, what effort you spend on this activity? If it is a brute force method, you can simply write, we need to examine 2 to the power m number of edges. Let us assume that cardinality of E is m. Or sometimes what happen, we express if there are n number of vertex and the graph is a complete graph, the number of edges are n into n minus 1 by
2.
q. Agreed. So we can roughly say if there will be n number of edges, there will be order of n square number of
square.
edges, n square. So this becomes 2 to the power n square. Got it? So there are 2 to the power n square different set to be examined. 2 to the power n square different set to be examined in a brute force method to find out the minimum caught. Because you first examine a edge, if it is found to be caught, memorize its weight, go to the second set, second is not qualified for a caught, discard it, go to the third one, third is qualified for a caught, then you calculate what will be the cost of the that caught. If it is less than the previous one, then you remember min caught as the caught of the third caught you are examining. So this is the way you can write the brute force algorithm, and you can argue the complexity or a complexity of a brute force algorithm is 2 to the power n square, or you may write 2 to the power m if you are assuming there are m number of edges, right? And what exactly a randomized algorithm is going to do, you are going to pick up a edge,
Random edge.
random edge. How many edges you will pick up? That is a question. How many edges you will pick up? You don't think that you are able to look into the graph, huh? Don't think you are able to look into the graph. Forget out. Only data is given to you. That means you have given 20 edges, out of which you are selecting 2 edges. Okay. Then what will be the phase 1? Phase 1 is the random selection of 2 edges. I'm talking of a different randomized algorithm. Then I'll come to a randomized algorithm which going to guarantee the solution. Are you getting me? First, I talk about a randomized algorithm. Now we are with a Monte Carlo algorithm. Monte Carlo algorithm says the algorithm which returns a result. Okay, but I am discussing about a algorithm, a typical randomized algorithm which may be true, which may not be true. Okay, now you come to this. I want to design a randomized algorithm. I have given m number of edges. So uh, what I am going to do? I am going to select. Let us say how many edges. I am selecting 2 edges at a random. Okay. Then what is the next step? How much time I spend on selecting 2 edges? Constant time or maximum if I am
Constant.
selecting if I am selecting n number of edges, I have to spend a time of order of n. Fine. After selecting, what I am doing, I am examining whether those 2 edges are cut or not. Got it? After that, what I am doing, I have 2 choices. Either I'll stop my algorithm and I try once, I have not found out the solution. I'll try second time, I'll try third time, I'll try fourth time, I'll try 5 time. Or if I am not able to find out a chord set, what I'll do, I'll go back to the beginning of the program and I have to again pick up the edges. So can I call this algorithm as a randomized algorithm?
No, sir.
Why?
Yes, sir, but is not a sufficient one.
Sir, call.
Yes, please. Yes.
Sir, you told na randomized algorithm must run in polynomial time, but
Right.
in this case,
Agreed. Agreed.
suppose we
Yes.
if we
Yes. Then what I'll call that algorithm? That day you are asking, this is a non-deterministic algorithm, right? If I am doing like this, selecting few edges and again examining, not found to be the solution, that is a non-deterministic algorithm because the way I select the edges is not sure. If I'll run again and again, I'll get a different edge to be selected. But it is not, it may give me a solution, it may not give me a solution. I can call it as a randomized as a non-deterministic algorithm. And but it also uses a randomized routine. What I told on that day, my randomized algorithm should have a polynomial time complexity. That is the reason I have to approach certain control mechanism so that along with the randomness, the algorithm must terminate in polynomial time plus it must going to produce a result. Okay, if you look, if you'll keep this thing in mind, then only you can design a randomized algorithm. So whatever the mechanism is suggested by the various authors, how this particular algorithm works, uh, uh, this is because we want to impose certain control mechanism. We want to restrict the algorithm such that it is going to produce a solution. So this is the basic logic which is used in the randomize the min cut, because first we try to find out, uh, we pick up a edge randomly, that is the edge connecting u to v, and we try to remove this edge and we we combine the two vertex to call it as a single vertex UV. So now we'll go on doing like that. Suppose I am into the second diagram. I have a choice X connecting to UV, Y connecting to UV, and Z connecting to UV. Suppose I have to use a greedy algorithm, then definitely I'll look into the weight associated with the edges. Depending on my problem statement, if it is a minimizer, I should select a minimum weight. And if it is a maximizer, I'll select the edge width, which will be maximum. Then we'll try to merge the corresponding vertex X, Y, or Z. But here we are selecting these 3 edges at a random. Why I always discuss greedy with a random? Because sometimes I feel the randomized algorithm is a special case of the greedy algorithm, because the greedy algorithm also bounded by a polynomial time, but the selection is based on certain algorithm or the criteria or a algorithm to be computed to decide which will be the best or the least depending on the problem. But here we are not doing any pre-processing. Randomly we are selecting among the eligible candidates, so that solution is must. Okay, I think last class we have discussed with the traces that how we are going to do it. Now if you look into the concept of the probability, when you have got a finite number of edges, so probability that when you are approaching or we are selecting a edge, what is the probability that that edge will be part of the solution? That edge will be part of the solution. Okay, so let k be the min code of a given graph, and where cardinality of vertex is n, and the edge set will be greater than equal to kn by 2. How? Cardinality of E, the edge. That means we try to say that what should be the minimum number of, what should be the minimum number of, what is that particular line says? If K be the min code, why E is coming as a greater than equal to Kn by 2? Any idea?
Sir,
So because otherwise there will be
Yes,
a vertex of degree that will be less than k. So that will be the min cut. मतलब less than k will be the min cut.
less than K will be the min code. Agreed. Then again, if you look into the probability at which you are selecting among the available edges, okay, go in reverse way. So there is a set out of which the k edges, if those k edges will be selected, then they are going to be the min code. So what is the probability that you are selecting k edge among the all available edge? Got it? No. See, in the steps which explains is explains in a reverse way that a particular vertex which we are going to drop, then edge is to be merged. But actually, this is one of the way to restrict and to be sure that I am going to get a min code. Let us look into that. If I am going to apply the step number 1, I am selecting BF as the part of my min code. Yes or no? What we try to do here, if I am selecting the particular age BF, can it be the part of the min code? Yes. Here you see I'm selecting picking up the age BF. My question is that at end, if I have to list, these are the ages is qualified to be the min code. You please note down this and examine the graph. Your age, one age is the BF, another age is the GH. Okay, another age is the GH. So another is the new age what you are finding DGH. Of course, the D is to be merged with means you can say the GD. Okay, and another age is your EAE, and next is your. Can you draw that cut set? You completed this algorithm. Can you draw that cut set? Can you draw that particular cut set? I very much similar to like this or either in a set notation or like this. Can you draw a cut set? Are you getting me? Can you draw a cut set? Which at least you can tell which one is a cut set if I am going to execute this algorithm that selecting an arbitrary edge and merge them. Definitely BF will be a cut set. I mean member of cut set. Cut set is a set of edges. So BF is a member. GH is a member. Okay. BF is a member. What are the other members? GD is a member. AE is a member. What are the other things? Yes. Can anybody list the ages? This is the difficulty when we talk about the solution, and as we discussed in dynamic programming, we talk of the value of the optimal solution and the actual solution. Actual solution, I have to name those edges which are to be removed so that the graph will be divided into two component. Okay, so okay, let me tell you from where you will be looking for this solution, Minkert algorithm. Any book or anything is with you, or I have to supplement the material for this Minkert. Are you getting me? What is you see? I am explaining the process, but no here the solution is appearing. We talk about complexity. We talk about a process. We able to find out the complexity of the particular algorithm, or we find out approximately the effort what we are going to do to find out the edges. But nowhere the algorithm says you have listed with the number of edges, which is going to represent a cut. Excuse me. So first you look into what is required. That means we are not going to find out the things is consolidated available at one place which will give the answer. The book try to say about the complexity is not saying about the solution, and the book is not going to figure out or represent just as we talk about pathfinding and spanning tree algorithm. I need to list the edges that are qualified to be the spanning tree, but I am only calculating the value of the solution, not the solution. So the simple task is that how to write algorithm where we can print this thing, when we can print the solution. Okay, so you remember the basic properties of the graph? How many of you remember? Or I'll just try to list the theorems representing the property of the graph. The simple things as you say, n number of vertex, you are this number of edges. Have you gone through the properties? Because proving this type of graph algorithm requires that graph property has to be memorized, or the theorem has to be memorized. Any of you are in I mean one class also I have asked about, anybody has gone through the Narsim Dev, or at least I'll list the theorems of the Narsim Dev and I can continue so that you can have a uh, meaningful or convincing it will be more convincing for you to understood when you are deriving, right? Anybody has studied Narsingh Dev? Graph theory by Narsingh Dev, N Dev. Yes, please.
Study in undergraduation, sir.
Undergraduate Narsingh Dev. I mean, there are many
Third year,
theorems
na?
are there. Many
Yeah, yeah.
theorems are there. How many
For proving.
chapters you have studied? How many chapters?
I
Ex
no,
huh?
I gone through it. I gone through it according to my syllabus. Like
Syllabus.
proving
Chapter
that
1, chapter 1 to 5 complete. Chapter 9, chapter 11. Usually we cover this thing. Okay. Uh, because we are not concerned with the proofs and others, other than we can okay, there is a popular theorem which describes the relationship between vertex with odd degree and vertex with even degree.
event degree. Yes, yes.
What is that theorem? Any remember?
So the number
Yes.
of vertex having odd degree should be even.
And number of vertex to be odd degree. Similar things are coming to the picture when we try to study the graph algorithm. Okay. So it usually assume that that is the paper either covered with discrete mathematics or part of the graph theory, and these papers are sits on the top of that. Okay, I'll try to do one thing. I'll include some basic uh, algorithms or the results of the graph theory, and similarly What about the properties of the binary tree? Binary tree, we need many property for which we are going to discuss about the different data structures or heap structures in your course. Binary tree you have studied from which book? Binary tree, where we have many theorems. Binary tree, if you will follow the classic data structure by Professor D. Samanta. D. Samanta. D for Debasis Samanta. He's a professor from IIT Kharagpur, and the book is published through Prentice Hall of India. So there, if you got a chance to see that book, if you note down only the conclusion or the finding the statement of the theorems, that will be sufficient enough to solve all the problems. I think he has discussed 10 or 12 theorems, and the statements of the problems are sufficient when we apply that to any type of graph. Okay, and now we'll be continuing with this without looking into the details, because I have to explain you in the terms of the graph. Uh, Maybe I'm looking for a setup where I can use the whiteboard to do that. I could not synchronize my whiteboard. It is coming like a reverse video. Maybe in the next week I'll be able to do that, so that we'll be in a position to find out the complexity of the algorithm and others. Here we have not written an algorithm. This is have not written an algorithm. You see, if you look into this particular structure, uh, it says this is the base condition. There must be more than two vertex, so that we can able to apply this algorithm. Then we say select a edge randomly, and then we say contract the edges. So this is what we discuss in the example. But this algorithm is not going to preserve anywhere the edges. The edges. So here we are creating this particular set. Select edge belongs to E, and now when we are selecting edge from E, it tried to select you, so many things. Now look into the statement number 8. What it says? What it says? Yes, what it says?
Return the number of edges between the last two vertices.
No, here it is E and I am selecting from E. This algorithm is correct or wrong? I am selecting a edge at a random from E. Am I not removing that edge? Because if I am not removing that edge, the set will be remain same, and the second time when I am moving around the while loop, I will be selecting that same edge.
Sir, we are merging the vertices now, sir. Then we'll be automatically removing the edges now, sir, between the two vertices.
No, that will be, but the E is to be changed, na? You simply look at a set, the E has got 10 members. Okay. E has got 10 members. So I am merging means the edge has to be there, or edge is removed.
Removed.
If removed, then where I am removing here? There is a edge connecting from V1 to V2. And you ask, you find that V1 and V2 to be merged. So that means what I need to do, I have to remove that edge. That means set E is to be updated with E difference that particular edge Eij. Got it?
So
Yes,
then
yes.
what does the contrast statement does here?
Contrast statement does actually it merges two vertex. Okay. That means it merges two vertex. You are removing two vertex and creating one vertex on behalf of them. Right? When you did that, you are removing the edge, na? If you look into this graph, let us say we look into this graph. How many vertex is there? 5 vertex. If this is my graph G and this is my new graph G dash, so how many vertex are there? 4 vertex. How many edges are there? 3 edges. So if initially my edge set E, the E has to be replaced with E difference. E has to be replaced with E difference, the edge that is connecting U to V. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, that is the in algorithm. There will be we will be finding so many gaps are there. It is just written. I'm talking of the books. I can show you the book from where we'll pick up. We try to study algorithm. Not only you, I also. I have to refer to the book to study. But this is the gap. It's not tried to represent very clearly. It always explains you that what happens during that process, easily understood how a randomized algorithm for min cut works, but the algorithm is not complete. The representation is not complete. Okay, the representation is not complete. So that is the most challenging task when we are supposed to write down the algorithm for or write down the randomized algorithm for MinCut. Okay, now what is the task for you? First task, we have to look into the problem statement for this MinCut. Second, you search, do Google it. It's a post-graduation course. Remember, Google it. You will be finding many paper proposed by the authors for randomized MinCut. Just try to look refer into one or two papers where you can find the algorithm is written very clearly. You see, unless and until you have a algorithm, you cannot program it. Somebody has to write the algorithm first. So try to search a paper. You will be definitely find it out and uh, do something that let us take one problem. We are not going to do for all the problems. I will not ask you to do for all the problems. Do it for one problem. Okay, and if you do it for one problem, if you find the algorithm, if you find the algorithm, then it is correct. And when you are finding the algorithm, don't accept it as it is. Don't accept it as it is. Okay, then what you need to do? You argue whether the statement which is there is meaningful or not. Okay, and I hope if you'll search, you will get. Huh? I'll be loading one chapter immediately after this class, which shows you the this randomized min-cut chapter. There also you'll be finding this algorithm is contrast. Himself, the author has developed a algorithm contrast. Every book try to copy that one. Select a E from A's, and there you'll be finding one interesting that it try to say that you select the edge uniformly at random. So what happens? That actually helps us to write down a randomized algorithm using MATLAB or Scilab, because the random number which we are selecting is going to select uh, using the uniform distribution. Okay, I'll take 1 minute to pick up that algorithm and share, and this chapter 2 I'll upload that also you can get from the Google. I am going to share it. Maybe I'll take only few seconds to do that.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, can you please provide the syllabus for this whole course also?
Why you are so much worried for syllabus?
Uh, sir, I just want to know all the topics which will be covering for.
Topics I told you, note down. Uh, uh, it whatever the classical algorithm that is prerequisite. We start with NP completeness, then we'll move to the randomized algorithm, then we'll move to the lower bound theory, then we'll move to the correctness proving. It goes like this. And sometimes we look into, typically the course has the objective to design an algorithm for NP complete problem. Okay. Okay, I'll share the course. It's it's not a problem for me. I'll share the course. You have a look into
Thank you,
that.
sir.
Sharing the course. You see, it's a post-graduation course. Try to see the higher end courses that is available with the top university. There is no course. courses are, you just have a look into this. I think it's visible. There is an algorithm called contrast. Maybe you can, I have shared my screen. Is it visible?
Yes.
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 This is from a
Yes, sir.
paper. You see what you are getting from this algorithm. Is it helping you to write a program? You see, one line is catchy. Line number 2, select E from E uniformly at a random. Means that is the random function which is available with MATLAB or Scilab is uniformly distributed, right? So can you implement this algorithm, write a program and try to get the result? So now you look into the precondition. What they have written? The graph is a simple graph,
Free.
loop free. What are the conditions for a simple graph?
No
No
self-proof, no
parallel
parallel edges.
edges,
No
no.
parallel
Yes,
edges,
very
no
good.
loops.
Yes. Here they have written loop free, but there is a possibility there is a parallel edges, right? So this is by the proposer, the author. It's mostly taken from the author side. Okay. And then it tried to explain with example. This part is always easy, and that's followed by when we try to talk about this the lower bound paper problem. That's why I try to discuss how it is coming, then repeating this algorithm. You see how they are writing. This is the difficulty. How they are writing. It starts with the contract with the probability omega of n square, where n denotes the number of vertices of a multigraph. Repeating the algorithm for n square log n times, which we are critical that algorithm must have a polynomial bound. Then we finally talk about the complexity of the algorithm. Now look into the analysis, what they try to do, and they try to look into the straightforward method, brute force method, and then followed by this. This is must for you. Why, you know? In your post graduation study and thesis, without this your thesis is meaningless. And you see, he is the proposer. Karger is the proposer of this algorithm and appeared in first in 1996. Okay, I just say the polynomial. I mean, it must be polynomial bound. I know it will be difficult immediately when you will be pushed into that. You understood. So that's why most of the books which are quite popular, they try to simplify the things and place it. But actually, it is designed for to take the whole things, the complete mathematical things. Because when you will be proposing a new algorithm, you may not be writing the codes for that, but this study is must. But again, I am criticizing this. Where is my problem statement? If I am demanding from a student when they are coming for a presentation, show me your problem statement. Have I trained them or any of my colleague have trained you how to write down the problem statement? You see, our aim is, our objective is something different. We need to train someone so that he can stand tall in front of the other people that, okay, my problem is there. I have a problem statement. I defined the lower bound. I propose a algorithm. I prove its correctness. That's all. And next part, if I'm going to do the simulation, I am analyzing the performance of my algorithm with help of a simulation environment or a programming language. Okay. So this is just to look into that. A architect tried to design a building. He designed a miniature model and he tried to convince his client, look, your building looks like this. This will be the performance. This is the pathway. This is the, if there will be heavy rainfall, this drain will open like this. Designer approach is completely different. And it is not confined to any book. Any of you have gone through the Klinberg? Any of you, have you seen the Klinberg book?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Any exercise, chapter 3 or 4? Should I start with exercise of divide and conquer and discuss? So we are not going to discuss in particularly divide and conquer. We'll be only looking into the one or two exercise problems we'll examine. Again, I say algorithm design and algorithm analysis is different. So we will try to take the problem and we try to model the problem. Before implementing, we try to simulate through a small case and try to say that okay, this pathfinding algorithm is better for this particular network. This is better for wired network. This is better for ad hoc network. This is better for wireless ad hoc network, like that. Okay, so my question is, again I am repeating, I am going to ask what is the objective function, what is the problem statement for this finding minimum cut. Forget about algorithm. Somebody say, no sir, I'll be writing a dynamic programming algorithm for min cut problem. Yes, algorithm is there, you have to search. That is something exactly what I am going to do it for the PhD students. It will be fixed. It will be a complete case study, and that is required for their work. It is must. Because the problem what they are going to face after 2 years, one has to be ready from the beginning, representing the problem. Again I repeat, I'll just upload this thing. If you'll Google it, you can find it, this particular item, chapter 2 describing the min cut, uh, explaining the process. Algorithm is like this, which is a randomized algorithm. It completes in polynomial time. But what are the things lacking? Something I told, and it is open for a discussion. We'll again take this problem. At least for binary tree and this for correctness. Similarly for binary tree, 2 or 3 cases I'll discuss in details. Okay. So it says, if look into that, if G represented as a labeled graph, where the label denotes the multiplicity of edges, then contract can be implemented in order of n square option. At least spend some time to read it. So this can be immediately converted to a question, and you have to answer that. So the representation, that's why I'm told from the beginning, the representation matters. You look into this. This can be a question. The graph is represented as a, in case of adjacency matrix or vertex, it says it's a label graph where label denotes the multiplicity of the edges. Then contract can be implemented in order of n square time. So contract operation, if you look into the example, there is a subroutine to be written for contraction. So running time of the algorithm is repeatedly, and the suggested before this yields the total this number of operations to be performed, n to the power 4 and log n. And why log n come to the picture? Because when we look into the n number of sets, the way that is getting merged or divided, it takes the height of the tree. Then look into this, the deterministic min-cut algorithm complexity is this. So where to get that algorithm? You see, this is the competition. Otherwise, it will be order of n cube. Maybe you can ask whether it is implemented in adjacency list or adjacency matrix. So this is the way the graph algorithm moves. Maybe sometimes the single article may take number of classes to explain, but try to look into that. This is the things expected from the designer, and even if you are not able to complete it, at least if you know informations are available, you can select at the right time and apply. Okay. Uh, we conclude with this. We'll again back to this algorithm. As I say, I'm expecting if anybody find out the problem statement from any literature and magazine or anything from downloaded, please share with me. We'll share with your friends. Okay, definitely you will be acknowledged for that. So go through that to the literature, Google it to find out the problem statement of min-cut. And again, I am adding one extra things, deterministic algorithm, in particularly the dynamic programming algorithm to find out the min-cut. Okay, so I am also doing that. I'll be sharing you tomorrow. You also do it. If I am completing, I'll definitely upload today evening. Okay, if you find it and you share me with my institute mail. Okay, thank you.
Hello.
We are closing the session.
Hello, sir.
Yes, yes, please.
Sir, actually, I had a doubt in some rand function in Scilab.
Right.
Sir, Sir, actually there are two parameters, like one is uniform, another is normal. What is the difference between those two?
Uniform distribution, as I say, it's a distribution between the default function has a distribution between 0 and 1. It returns a between. Then there are number of statistical distribution. Okay, when you try to test the random number it returns, you can plot a graph to know that the nature of the random generator. Okay, have you remembered anything? Do you remember anything about the normal distribution?
Yes, it
How
means
the
mean should be between 0 to
yeah
1.
how the normal distribution curve looks like bell shaped, right? Normal distribution curve
Yes,
looks
sir.
like bell shape. That means if the random number which you are generating, you try to generate 1,000 numbers, if you plot them, it all the numbers will fit into the bell shape. If you are finding there is a axis, y-axis, if you'll find the 30% number in one side and a 70% number in another side, then the generator is a faulty. Your question is very informative, because if I am writing and before there is a doubt, I am not going to believe the on random generator, and somebody says, sir, why not? I'll write my own random function. This is the answer. So try to check the normal distribution which randomly they have specified in their manual. They have declared that this obeys this distribution. Okay, I'll only share you because you will not be getting that information. I'll share you 3 or 4 page content of a networking book, which is typically a network modeling book. I'm 100% sure that will never discussed during your course, because the professor who teaches that, he is not going to teach that. It will be highly mathematical. At least you know what is the distributions. Suppose I want to study about the packets coming to the router, what distribution it take. If you take uniform distribution or normal distribution, it will be wrong. Okay, what is a Pareto distribution? What is a Brusty traffic? I'll just show you the content. How many distributions are there? Just don't, so that it will help you to know that at least you heard about this distribution. So the inbuilt distribution, you check it the Scilab. If it, that means the normal, as you say, it must be following the normal distribution. Okay, I'll check it again. I'll check it again. But for the default rand function is the random distribution. But in MATLAB, other distributions are also inbuilt. I have to check for the Scilab. I am not sure. Okay, I'll definitely answer you that distribution you are having. You can check it with the help file. It's easy to get. Okay,
Sir,
you just
Actually, there is
yes,
some
yes, please.
seed also. I'm not
See,
understand.
seed.
Yes, sir. Seed
SEED seed.
parameter in rand function.
Seed. Yes, seed I can
Yes,
explain
sir.
you.
Yes,
Seed
double
explain
ED.
if you know. You see, if you look into congruent modulo generator, have you seen the congruent modulo generator that generates the random function? Congruent modulo generator.
No, sir.
Okay, check that congruent modulo
No,
generator.
sir.
That's why number of times I told about a book in the last class. That is Simulation and Modeling by Law and Carlton. When we going to write down a random a congruent modulo generator, we take a variable that is called the seed value. If you change the seed value, your random number which will be output that by that function will change. Remember it, that is a variable you are supplying to a random generator. This much. Okay, depending on the seed value, number of produced will be different. So that is a good example that you can check in a seed value. Seed value in congruent modulo generator, or seed value uh, for any random generator. Okay, if you
Hello?
required, I can share you some details related to this simulation modeling Law and Carlton. Book details I can share you, but book I think it is difficult. Yes, please.
Sir, today the first class, I'm the executive PhD student.
Yes.
Want to get more information because you have covered many areas.
Everything is there. Everything is there in the MS Team. You can download the things. Okay.
So it is asking for the permission. So because we joined late, because you got the
Okay.
permission late. So that's the problem we're
Okay.
facing.
Okay. Okay. No problem. We have the other source of sharing. I'll allow You just put a request and it will come to me via my institute mail. So I'll click yes.
Sure, sure,
Yeah.
sure.
It will click yes. Huh? So
Yeah.
you can able to do it.
Sure, sir. Thank you.
Yes. Asking about pseudo random generator, you please check the what is the seed value. And select for the congruent modulo generator, seed value in a congruent modulo generator for generate the random number. Okay. So we conclude with this and we'll be meeting tomorrow to discuss the other things. Okay. Thank you. I'll be a little bit up because I'm not able to afford extra time. Maybe Monday will be up to Monday. I'll be too busy for that. Maybe we can schedule 1 or 2 extra classes based on the fundamental concept of the problem solving. And I hope once Sunday, as you say, people are eager to know the course, I'll open up the course. You see the course grow or sink depending on how much we are going to cover. And I'm happy with online mode. I can cover maximum things what I wish to cover. I'm not ever happy with 4 credit course because initial career we used to teach 4 classes per week, sometimes 80 plus classes in a semester for data structure. Not satisfied with people are and system assumes that people are smart enough 30 classes will be sufficient. But the problem what we face when we working with the research problem and the thesis problem, we need a very strong background of the person who can pick up the problem very fast. So there is a gap. There is a gap. We need to train the people so that it will be comfortable. Next joining will be comfortable. We are really not, it's my personal view, we are not really in that way. We are not really training. That's why if you'll say, if you'll go to the good institute, I don't want to name, okay, I can name in the institute, they will never honor your masters also. You go to IIT Kanpur, they will never honor your master also. They say you come as a fresh candidate. We'll groom you, groom you for your PhD, we'll groom you to take the work. They simply never ask anything on the thesis. They never look into even your mark sheet. Only interview. Then they will say, okay, you take this number of courses. But here, if we try to load the PhD students with a number of courses, okay, definitely there is sometimes there is objection, sometimes there is no acceptance. People says, you won't believe in comprehensive when we ask the question to the students, then they telephoned me back, sir, I want to sit the class. I'm talking of few senior students who are with the department. So there is every opportunity to learn, and what I feel online platform is more flexible than our scheduled classes. I don't mind and meeting again and again. Up to 19th it will be hectic, and those people are joining today. At least again I want to talk about the problem solving because I am going to take them in a different platform. I'll tell them something in particular because they have to present one topic in every week to the whole class. Either it will be based on a specific data structure or advanced data structure, or topic will be assigned to them. That I'll take one-to-one them and I'll decide. Okay. So thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I'm closing the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.